A dangerous mix of chaos and rage on the streets of Haiti 1 week before the country's presidential election. A deadly cholera epidemic is quickly spreading and crowds are releasing their fury on those who are sent there to help. To explain, Ivan Watson is there in Port-au-Prince. He joins us now live. Ivan.
Max, the International Committee of the Red Cross says that the cholera epidemic has now spread to yet another vulnerable population, another vulnerable community, the prisoners at Port-au-Prince's main prison. They say that at least 10 inmates have died as a result of the disease, and at least 30 have been infected, and that number is expected to grow because of the cramped and overcrowded conditions in Haiti's largest prison. Meanwhile, the organization Doctors Without Borders, Médecins Sans Frontières, has issued a blistering report saying that there are critical shortfalls in the response to the cholera epidemic, saying, quote, despite the huge presence of international organizations, the cholera response has been inadequate. They have been at the front line of much of the cholera treatment. We've seen them operating in the northern city of Cap-Haïtien and seeing just a rush of cholera patients there in a makeshift cholera treatment center built in a basketball stadium there. Now, the clashes that we've seen around the country, they do seem to have subsided a bit today. Here in Port-au-Prince, there were some small-scale skirmishes, some rock throwing, some tear gas, and we did hear about some reports of similar incidents taking place in a town called Hesh. You're looking at pictures from yesterday of some of the clashes that took place right on the streets behind where I'm standing right now. But the main city that's been the focal point of the unrest, Cap-Haïtien, we're hearing after 4 days of pretty heavy rioting and a complete lockdown of the city, now traffic is starting to move around more normally. Cars are able to start moving through the streets. That's a positive sign for that northern city. We visited the hospital there on Thursday before leaving that city and saw a number of people wounded with bullet wounds, 37 according to doctors who were working there, gunshot wounds over the first 3 days of this week. And this is what one doctor said. He blamed the bullet wounds on the United Nations peacekeepers. Take a listen, Max.
After the attacks of Minister on the population, from Monday to Wednesday night, we received 37 cases of bullet wounds. Ages of the population range from 9 to 35 years. One boy, 9 years old, was shot by a projectile inside his mouth. An 11-year-old was shot in the arm. Another 14-year-old received a projectile in the mouth.
Now, I just got off the phone, Max, with the United Nations spokesman. He denies that the peacekeepers were responsible for those gunshot wounds. He says throughout these 4 days of fighting in the northern city of Cap-Haïtien, the peacekeepers only killed one demonstrator, he says, after they opened fire on the peacekeepers first. Max?
A group has told me that they think this is all to do with politics and the upcoming election and political groups stirring things up. Just give us a sense of the atmosphere running up to that election. They just need to get it out of the way, don't they?
Well, remarkably, amid the cholera epidemic and some of the violence, the 19 candidates running for president right now in elections that are about 9 days away, they're still out stumping. They're on television day after day. They're playing their advertisements. Their campaign posters are around, and they're still trying to campaign. They have been limited. They have not been able to travel to that northern city, the second largest city in the country, Cap-Haïtien, due to the unrest there. But they are still campaigning, and several of them have been appealing for calm amid the instability of recent days. I do have to say that some of the protesters that we talked to here who were throwing stones at United Nations peacekeepers and setting fire to the posters of one particular candidate favored by the outgoing president, they were arguing that now is no time for an election due to the fact that you still have, as you can see behind me, hundreds of thousands of people still living in tent cities after the earthquake of last January, due to the fact that you have people dying day after day from a cholera epidemic that has claimed at least 1,100 lives. Many of the candidates, however, say we need to go ahead with these elections.